What up, y'all, and welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the 2023 NRSL Jerky Pro Truck Series season finale. We've got 4 drivers in contention for the 2023 championship. Peter Onjack, your points leader on the front row, with Brittany Turner, who is on pole for the first time in her Truck Series career and has been quite the good rookie season for Brittany. Comes into this race sitting 12th in the points behind fellow rookies Ryan Brommer and Sky Commons, 5th and 8th in the points respectively. Also in the title hunt, Winnie Calhoun comes in 14 points back. Jessica Strauss also in the fight starts in row 2 with Chris Harvey. And finally, Jeanne Sandfer in the fight. Jeanne Sandfer needs to win, needs a lot of help. We'll get to the scenarios here in a moment. To the rest of the starting top 10, you've got Ron Bishop and Jim Ganton in row 3. There's Winnie Calhoun in row 4 with Hunter Braxton. And Jeanne Sandfer rounds out the top 10 with Zachary DeLello. So all 4 championship drivers starting in the top 10 here today. So all of them doing what they needed to do in qualifying. Now we'll have to see if they've got the pace in the race. I'm joined by the one and only, you know him, you all know him, Vince Freeze. What's good, man?
What's up, bro? How you doing? It's the last race of the season. It's the finale. It's been an interesting season, here on and off, but more importantly, it's 4 drivers' day. One of them will walk out champion here in Atlanta Motor Speedway. The other 3 will wonder what happened, what could have been. But I got the scenarios. We'll get to that a little bit during the race. Should be a good one. Tire wear should pick up towards the end of runs. But with these trucks, you know the draft's going to be heavy early on.
Yes, indeed, Vince. We should expect these drivers to make it on a 2-stop strategy this afternoon if the race is to go green. Should expect drivers to pit around 30 to 32, tire wear up and over 3 seconds. And then if they go a little extra longer, it really starts to cliff off. The more laps you go after you hit about 30 of these laps here at Atlanta, very abrasive surface. Rumor might be this track might get repaved during the offseason, as it is slated to be the season finale track once again in 2024, which I will now say on the record, 2024 will be the final season for both the Jerky Pro Truck Series and the Digital Storm Cup Series. More on that outside of the video world on Discord in the coming weeks. But Vince, we've got 90 laps of action here to decide a champion. First, how about you go over the previous winners here from this racetrack?
You got it, brother. Previous winners here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's see. We got Dylan Young in a Ford, 2017. Dylan Young went back-to-back in a Ford in 2018. Henry Sandfer, or brother Jeanne, won in the Chevy in 2019. James Ellison broke through in 2020 in a Chevy on the number 48 truck. Sandfer himself, Charles the man, the Terminator, got it done in 2021. And last year, the intermediate intimidator, as I like to call him, Donovan Cage, won the Chevy in 2022. Can Cage go back-to-back? We'll find out. But for Donovan Cage, he's not eligible for the championship. You got to look towards Peter Onjack on the front row being the best of our championship for to start this race.
Yes, indeed. And so Peter Onjack, it's pretty simple for him if he finishes ahead of everybody, or if they finish, even if they finish ahead of him, it's 4th or better for Peter to lock this thing up. If he finishes 5th or worse, that's where things can potentially get interesting. For example, if Winnie Calhoun were to win this race, if Onjack finishes 5th or worse, that would give the championship to the 23 team. For Jessica Strauss, it's a lot more complicated since she is 50 points back. She needs Onjack to finish 34th or worse, and then have Calhoun finish 19th or worse, and she needs to win. Now, Strauss, she could win this championship with a 2nd place finish, but then you've got to add 5 more positions to Onjack and Calhoun. It becomes 39th or worse for Peter and 24th or worse for Calhoun. Jeanne Sandfer, though, Vince, that's the big one. She needs to win and needs the rest of the competition to have a bad day. Green flag is out. 90 laps of action on the way here at Atlanta.
Kind of a broken up start in the middle of the pack as they go 3 wide finally in the first quarter. Here we go. They're starting to fan out, buddy. This is the Atlanta draft. It's similar to Daytona at the start of the race.
Yes, indeed. As we've seen here over the years, Vince, this track can be very super speedway-esque, especially in the truck series. You see at the top of the screen, though, they do have to lift down to about $1.72 or so, depending on the lane they're in. But there is a ton of fall off, so they tend to spread out as the run goes on. But here in the early going, you're going to see them 3 wide, maybe even a little bit of 4 wide at times around this 1.5 mile oval.
And momentum racing is all about the line sensitivity. And you'll see throughout the day that our championship contenders have to be careful. Look at Peter Onjack, third on the outside line there, nearly getting taken 4 wide. He's got to be careful. He's in the best position today. Needs to protect his guard. Winnie Calhoun, especially Strauss and Sandfer, are going to have to be the aggressors today for sure.
As you mentioned on the past winners, Vince, you know, Chevy has won the last 4 races and Ford won the first 2. Ford looking likely they want to probably get back to victory lane here. And then you've got Toyota and Ram who'd like to get the victory lane here for the first time ever. So I think a lot of drivers looking at this race as an opportunity to end their season on a win, especially someone like Benjamin Ice, who we have yet to see win. And we saw Ice run attempt the full-time cup schedule this year, but has DNQ'd about half the races. As we're looking to go 4 wide right there. That was Dale Johnson in the 20. Who was looking to the inside, and they're actually 4 wide right now, and Onjack is right on the outside of it.
Gotta be careful if you're Peter. Maybe use a little bit spatial awareness with your spotters. We might have double rows of 4 wide with the Sandfers. Nope, should be good to clear out.
That's actually Roberto Crown Jr. in the 87 this season, as a reminder. Henry Sandfer no longer in that truck. But hard to get that memory out, Vince. You know, you saw him in the 87 for about 2 full seasons, so when you look at that scheme, you're definitely going to think of Henry Sandfer. You're not going to think of Roberto Crown Jr., but Crown has done a pretty good job in this truck in his rookie year. He's had some pretty good moments.
Yeah, so far, apologies on that. So far, everyone seems to be funneling out into 3 or 4 wide, but the tire wear, if you look at it, it's pretty much a half a tenth to a tenth. Got to think about lap 15, 20 will settle down. But right now, spacing and track positions where it matters is you can see still 4 wide mid-pack.
And about all of these title contenders don't want to be in this. You've got Strauss right there in the middle of the 4 wide, and then Calhoun and Onjack to the outside of the 4 wide. Jeanne Sandfer is really the only one looking kind of clear right now, as she is on the bottom of a 3 wide situation. As it's currently Zachary DeLello and Benjamin Ice side by side for the lead. On the top behind Ice, you've got Riggs and Calhoun. On the bottom behind DeLello, you've got Jeanne Sandfer and Roberto Crown Jr. Leading the middle currently is the 20 of Dale Johnson.
We'll get to the stragglers at the back right now, but right now I can see Ice is controlling the lanes, but not for long. Here comes DeLello.
And they are still 4 wide back there. Strauss and Nereza in the middle of it. See a couple trucks you mentioned straggling at the back. We'll go down on the ticker to see who those drivers are. It appears to be the 39 of Lucas Catano, the 48 of Daniel Brown, the 51 of Skylar Taylor, and the 47 of Usman Hamid. We've also got Donovan Cage right at the back of this pack, perhaps trying to play it smart here in the early going, as it is chaos up here at the front of the field, as we're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Jeanne Sandfer doing what she needs to do and throwing her hat into the mix for the lead.
Yeah, for Jeanne, it's got to be a win. It's the only thing you can do, control yourself and get the win, see where the chips lie at the end of the day. But Benjamin Ice is doing a great job, Zach out front. You got to think at this place, it's all about understanding the trim. Do you trim out a little bit more at the front of the run and pay for it at the end? Or do you say, you know, let's gamble, let's go for that track position, just keep it all night? And for Jeanne Sandfer, it's just going to be about being aggressive and understanding where the momentum shifts, because we're still too packed up to say tire wear is playing a factor for sure.
You know, getting just about into 1/3 of the way through this run. And as you said, they are still 3 wide going crazy. So Jeanne unable to make the bottom stick. It goes back to a side-by-side between Ice and DeLello. So you've got Calhoun up here on the outside of Jeanne. Calhoun has managed to stay closer to the front of this top line. Peter Onjack has had a couple of trucks jump in front of him, the 20 of Dale Johnson and the 1 of Ron Bishop. And then Strauss has actually migrated from the middle to the bottom, as now Calhoun will go to the middle of Corey Riggs.
Now we're starting to see more just 3 wide racing, Zach, and they're starting to get to the top. I think we're looking at 2 wide and potentially single file here by lap 25, 27 amongst the first 8 or 9 trucks. Yeah, the tire wear now is starting to kick in. And more importantly, the front edge grip is just gone. As this track, as you said, is old surface, could be repaved next year. That's what happens when you have 25 years on this track.
Yeah, they're thinking about it. They're not sure if they want to do it yet. They really like the racing this track provides with the tire degradation. If they were to repave it, you would still keep this kind of racing, but the tire fall off would go down a lot.
So far, it's just a little side draft between Ice and Dalel, and no one can get away. And that might be a factor, just who has more trucks in their lane. Up top, they just got 3, 4. As you can see, they can just get that momentum off of one as we continue to go 4 wide now.
They are
after the
4
first
by
5.
4. Look at this, 4 by 4 by 4 right now. 3 rows of 4 wide, and Onjack's right on the outside of it.
PG's got to work with this spotter right here. Way a bit low. Look at the gap and then start attacking a little bit later. He knows what to do. He's in a great spot because look at behind. The pack is starting to fizzle out a little bit. I know we talked about the stragglers, but you can see back there on a wide shot, we're losing trucks left and right due to the draft and early on the race.
Look at Roberto Crown Jr. with a big wiggle going into the corner, creates another 4 wide opportunity. Strauss has to really check up. That'll get her clear back to a 2 wide, so she can maybe choose to go to the top here, but Ron Bishop tries to kind of send it in. Davidson, Pat Johnson still in the middle of a 4 wide right here with Strauss as that gets really tight there. You see those trucks bouncing along the bumps coming through 3 and 4 especially compared to 1 and 2.
And early contact there. Strauss has to be very careful, like you said, just understand where the lines are, get out of those 4 wide risky situations, and boom, wait till those pit stops. That's where this race is going to be one sec. Undercut, overcut, you got to think with the tire wear at the end. An undercut will help you at the beginning of a run, but the overcut could matter towards the end of a run with tire wear. And you never know, maybe having a couple friends with the draft, getting up to speed, maybe a couple 4 or 5 could be big.
Halfway through this run now, Vince, and we've got some newcomers at the front. You see the 14 of Eric Monaco and the 45 of Colin Cropley down there on the bottom. And behind them, we've got the 16 of Stephen Waters, who we saw win at Auto Club in the Cup Series very early on in the year. And then the 37 of Dennis Moore. As it's still been Dalello, Ice, Riggs, Calhoun, Jeanne Sandfer, Roberto Crown Jr. here at the very front of this field. So we'll bring the overlay back up. There you can see, Vince, about a 1.5 seconds of fall off. Fastest lap currently belongs to last week's winner, Gatlin Downey, a 29.160. As where is the 40? He is at the back right now. He is in 37th. He's playing it safe. Donovan Cage has fallen back a bit further, and you can see the stragglers have really spread out at the back, Vince. Usman Hamid, 4.5 seconds behind the race leader. Is not so much sure. Ooh, Monaco almost made a very dangerous move on Cropley right there going in the 1. We about had a wreck at the front of the field. We'll take a quick peek here as Cropley's going 3 wide for the lead. You see Hamid, Brown, Cage, Skylar Taylor, Catano, and Downey. Not sure if their trucks have kind of gone away from them or if this is strategy. You've also got, it looks like the 13, 19, and 18. Jack James in the 13, Harvey in the 19, King in the 18. They are 3 wide and kind of fading just a little bit from the main pack here. So you see Strauss is up on the top. Vince, she has started to fall backwards as Onjack has moved to the middle, maybe trying to find a way to go forward as he's been kind of just stuck on that top side this whole run.
Yeah, and that's where the product, as you see potential 4 wide again mid-pack, it starts to get a little bit risky and frisky at the mid-pack because these guys are just still stuck in the draft. Where at the front, they're starting to create a little bit of aero separation with the wind in a way, and turbulence isn't as bad.
You can see we're actually starting to have the main group split into 2. So you got this gap here from Pat Johnson and Ron Bishop up to Dale Johnson. and Dennis Moore in the 37. As Cropley has moved to the middle, leading the middle line now over Benjamin Ice. DeLello still leading the bottom. Saden Davidson in the top 10 currently. As we're closing in on those pit stops, Vince, if we can keep it clean, they're about 10 laps away now.
Yeah, I think, though, maybe a little bit of a distance wouldn't hurt. A little distance between the front and main pack isn't the worst thing because you can close the distance. Let's just find out where Peter Onjack is, the gangster. See where he's at. I can see him on the top lane. Let's see if he's in a good spot, though, in 5 laps. Because if you're trying to get to the top to the bottom, it's almost impossible in the mid-pack. Where DeLello's at is perfect.
And these drivers actually practiced a new pitting location this year. In years past, we've seen drivers commit to pit road right at the entry of turn 3. Drivers are now actually committing in the middle of 3 and 4, and drivers have found it a lot safer and a lot more predictable to know when someone is pitting versus when you're turning into the corner going into turn 3. We've seen accidents be caused because of that. So now, right about here is where you'll see someone turn left and slow down to hit pit road.
I think this is a great move in terms of safety, like you said, and sometimes in a reality, you'll start putting your hand out the window, but you always can't see your hand out the window, especially with these trucks, how big they are with the spoilers in the back.
Oh, we got a crash. Big crash in turn 1. Caution's out here on lap 24.
We knew it was coming, Zach, at the end of the day. As you can see, they're racing back to the line here with Ice.
They were just starting to get really spread out as the fall-off had eclipsed the 2-second mark. And Benjamin Ice, I believe, will be the leader here at the start-finish line. And we'll get a damage report here. Who was in this thing? Looks like James Ellison was involved. Pat Johnson. Oh, Jessica Strauss with damage. That's huge for her. Flickinger and Brad Lewis are driving back. Peter Onjack's on pit road.
Oh, boy.
That is huge. Max Anderson, Kyler Anderson also on pit road. Their trucks appear to be done. Onjack qualified second, fell to the mid-pack. They're going to see if they can repair this thing. Pat Johnson's calling it quits right away. James Ellison also going to call it a day. Strauss will pull into her stall. Here come the leaders in the background. Will stay on this shot for the time being. Benjamin Ice will lead them into pit lane. And Vince, 5 laps away from the pit window. So if this thing were to go green from here, you would have a ton of people probably pitting around 5 to go.
He's got to see what Peter's doing. I'm just looking as the leaders come in. Can he get that repaired? But even if he can, is he up to pace?
Everyone's still pulling into their boxes. They're still trying to fix the 83. And they're done.
Whew.
They're done, and he's going to, I believe, depending who comes back out of pit road here, it's going to depend on the 3 and the 88. Right now, he's showing up as 37th. I think, did the 54 drive away, Vince? Yes, Jessica Strauss is going to continue. I'm not sure how much pace she'll have, but she will pass Peter, so that'll be one position. So right now, you're looking at what's going to matter. I don't know if Strauss will have the pace to contend for the win now after being involved in the accident. We still got to take a look at the replay. But Strauss likely going to be out of this because of the damage she has sustained. She's actually going to come back down pit road to fix the damage some more. Calhoun has, this really opens it up for Calhoun, who we saw running in the top 10. And then Jeanne Sandfer
Needs a win still.
Jeanne Sandfer still needs to win. And I believe Onjack will be... Onjack needed to be, I think, 38th or worst with that Jeanne Sandfer win. So that is where Peter is currently. So that'll make things a little more solid for Jeanne, knowing that the 83 is where it needs to be for her to get the championship if she were to win. So now she would more so just have to worry about the 23, which I believe, Vince, what was that, 24th or worse?
I believe, yes, 24th or worse, yep.
Okay, so Onjack currently sits 38th, but we're going to take a look at the replay, and we'll see where he ends up if the 88 and the 3 come back on track. Taking a look at the replay that brought out our first caution of the day. It's going to start here with James Ellison in the 9 and Jim Ganton in the blue numbered 21. And look at the 83 of Peter Onjack right up against the wall. They were just 4 wide here going into the corner. And Ellison gets in the Ganton, turns him right up into the 83 and slams him into the outside wall. And you also saw Jessica Strauss in the 54 had nowhere to go along with many others.
Yeah, Peter was just an innocent victim there, and that could be a championship implication more than just people understand. And a lot of these truck owners need the money in a way. The drivers get the prestige, but these owners need, and a championship in second place is big money difference. For James, veteran move, you got to think he's going to be regretting that one, especially considering he's been in past championship situations. If I'm not mistaken, back in 2020, I think he was in a championship mix. So you would think he would know what to do, but tough break there.
Yeah, very unfortunate. It looks like they were just 4 wide, and he just maybe misjudged the gap from his front bumper to the 21's back bumper, and then maybe the 21 saw him, might have checked up more because of the move he thought James was going to make, and that created that accident. We'll take another look at this from spectator camera in full speed. Here's another look of the accident.
What a hit.
An 83 of Peter Onjack. Vince, he got slammed in the driver's side door and then pushed straight into the wall. So 2 very hard hits for Peter. Let's get some onboards. On board with the 9 of James Ellison. Yeah, it looked like maybe a bit of a checkup there in the quad oval, and then just maybe a little bit of a misjudge. On board with the 54 of Jessica Strauss. Just a victim of circumstance there for the 54 as Donovan Cage, Daniel Brown, Usman Hamid go flying by right at the end of that. Lastly, on board with the 83 of Peter Onjack, who is done for the day. I think the impact to the driver's side door was actually more violent than the hit to the wall itself. So definitely can see how this truck is KO'd. Getting ready to go back racing, we will have 72 laps to go. Benjamin Ice, your leader. Jessica Strauss, a lap down. Kyler Anderson and Max Anderson set to come back on the track, as is Gatlin Downey, who had an issue on pit road. Same with the 21 of Jim Ganton, who is yet to continue moving. But out of the race, Pat Johnson, James Ellison, and Peter Onjack. So once Kyler Anderson gets back around, Onjack will officially finish in 40th, which will give him 3 points on the day. With that said, Vince, the scenario for Winnie Calhoun changes. Calhoun now, as we go back racing, Kyler Anderson's going to Kyle Busch it and go right by the leader here.
Oh, boy.
As Jim Ganton comes back on track. But so for Calhoun cannot tie break Onjack on top 5s and top 10s. So for her, Calhoun needs to finish 25th or better. As you see Kyler Anderson get caught right back up real quickly here after his Kyle Busch impersonation. It's Corey Riggs, Eric Monaco battling for the lead now. So here's Calhoun, currently running in 9th place. As the field very stretched out from the 54 of Jessica Strauss, who is really holding up the running order here. And I'm not sure if this truck is going to be up to speed enough to stay out here. But it's going to really stretch this pack out thin. So Strauss likely out of this hunt now. So it's going to come down to the 8 and the 23. And regarding, again, where they need each other to finish, Jeanne has to win. And then is going to need the 23 to finish 24th or worse. Meanwhile, for Calhoun, if Jeanne is not in the winning position, Calhoun just got to get 25th or better. And right now, it seems pretty easy with the pace that we've seen out of this truck, but there is still 58 laps to go. I misspoke. It was 62 to go on the restart.
Problem is, buddy, with the way these tires work and the way the pack is now, these trucks can draft up with the aero and the drag behind it with the spoiler. Not like this. By the time they get all bunched up, the tire wear will start to creep in around lap 45, and it won't be the same racing like we saw at the initial get-go. That could be the big difference for Calhoun and Sandfer, because for Sandfer, just riding Calhoun's coattails ain't going to do anything. And you can see a second and a quarter off potentially. You need some friends from behind to push you with the push draft, or you got to almost hope for a little strategy play, as you can see. Ibrahim going up top.
And typically, Vince, in the truck series, when we talk about intermediate undercut, overcut strategy, sure, the undercut, you can gain a ton of track position. But typically, as we know, the accordion is a big thing with entering pit road. So if you overcut and you're one of the first 3 trucks in the pit road, notably one of the first 2 trucks in pit road for your overcut group, you tend to not lose as much time, and you have a better chance of getting draft, which really helps the overcut in the truck series on tracks like this. So, you know, overcut might be the better play for Jeanne, especially with it looking like if this goes green, you're going to have trucks pitting around 55 and then around 85. So if you pit around 85, you're likely looking at a stop-and-go fuel situation where you take less fuel, you're going to have a quicker pit stop. So the later you pit, the better off you're going to be. And at the same time, if it is a fuel-only pit stop, with that lap 55 overcut, you will still have the best tires while taking less gas.
Yeah, it's going to be about crunching the numbers. We're going to know around lap 55, 56 for this championship. We'll have a battle at the front. There's still one more. Strauss is open.
Strauss is
way
currently looking at 2.5 seconds off pace. They are letting her stay on track for now. Kyler Anderson is 3 laps down. Max Anderson 2 down. Jim Ganton 2 down. And of course, Strauss is already 1 lap down with Gatlin Downey. As you said, Vince, battle is on here at the front. It's still between Riggs, Ice, and DeLello, along with Eric Monaco, Colin Cropley remaining at the front. Archibald Buttersworth up here. Buttersworth got his first career win back at Papyrus. As the last 3 races, Vince, in Jerky Pro, we've had a first-time winner. Ryan Brommer at Memphis, Archibald at Papyrus, and Gatlin Downey last week at Pensacola.
Yeah, right now you can see. I still think Ice has the best truck if he can just get clear of Riggs and DeLello, but it's all about who has the most trucks on the top lane. It's a momentum-based run when the tires are fresh within about 10 to 15 laps. Once we get to lap 45, once you're in clear air, you're pretty much hard to beat. And that's where the key is, unless you have a crossover dimed up. And now the pack is constantly up, Zach. We saw that 1.2 second gap from first to 10th. It's now a half a second. It's getting there.
Indeed, Vince. And back to that point of first-time winners recently, you've got a bunch of them that would happen up here. Riggs, Ice, DeLello, Cropley, Monaco, Jeanne Sandfer, fighting for a championship. Could she get her first career Jerky Pro Truck Series win in the process? Needs Calhoun to fall, though. Right now, Calhoun doing what she needs to do. She doesn't even really have to win this thing at this point, the 23. She's just got to finish, like I said, 25th or better. But in the case of Jeanne being up front here, if Jeanne gets into the winning position, then Calhoun's got to be 23rd or better.
Yeah, you can see everyone's staring to Constantine up. There's Strauss on pit road, isn't they?
I believe Strauss has been told to park.
I think that's it for her championship dreams. You can serve for sure.
I think they were 99% over as it ran.
Yep.
But yeah, she is officially done. She will finish 39th here once the 21 and the 3 go by. As at the front, Jeanne Sandfer is going for the lead on ice and rigs.
It's that great push from Katana. Remember, he was at the stragglers at the back, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed he was. He was all the way back there in 38th, I believe. So it looks like Katano is ready to go, and he might be up here to maybe help teammate Benjamin Ice out. Or he might be looking to go for this lead himself. We've also got Delon Ibrahimian up here at the back of the top 10. As now Jim Ganton down pit road. I'm not sure if they are parking him or if this is scheduled. Let's take a peek around here and find out. Nope, they have parked Ganton as well. And Ganton had just passed Strauss, so Ganton finishes 38th officially. So that leaves Downey a lap down, Max Anderson 2 down, and Kyler Anderson 3 down, as Jeanne Sandfer is looking to take the race lead.
Tom just hits that little dip on the front stretch between the quad oval. And I think that's where it's cost momentum, but he's definitely got better pace than Sandfer and the guys in front. You can see it. And you just wonder if he was just saving his equipment. He saved the brakes a little bit, saved a little bit of the tire, saved a little bit of the setup, not show all his cards, and now he's starting to propel. Look, he's got no help, but he's still hanging tight on the inside line.
Stephen Waters coming into the mix and looking maybe to make it 4 wide to the inside of the 8 and the outside of the 39. But, I mean, you look, Vince, the 39, look at how low he enters. But he enters that low so he can get back in the gas and slide up that extra few inches to try and hold some of that momentum, because we've seen it all race. Middle and outside are the preferred lines when you're in that 3 wide situation. But look at Catano making the bottom work. He's clear of the 93. Can he get clear of the 8? 8's going to slide up in front of Ice. And Catano leads at the start-finish line. Not yet clear of Jeanne, though.
He's got to use that katana wing. He's got to do a little katana. He did it. He didn't do it that time, but he had enough momentum helping Waters, and that's going to propel him now. Now he's out front, clean air. Let's see if that makes a difference. And could it be an interesting move to say, you know what, let me pull the undercut here? I know you said overcut risk, but for him, maybe with the undercut, the way this truck can get away, that maybe we'll see with the tires falling off. He might be one of the few trucks on here that has a setup deemed for the long run, whereas a lot of these guys were good for the first 5 to 15 laps. Find out.
So now Benjamin Ice helping Lucas Catano in that middle line. You got Enzo Nerez, a teammate to these guys. He's running 24th, and then Hunter Braxton is in 19th. So all 4 Bulldog Motorsports trucks still on the track. Another thing, Vince, that'll be up for discussion, or is still up for discussion, is the potential of eligibility changes. For the past several years, it has been a case of if you're a veteran of one series or the other, you can only run in one full time, and that might be changing for the final season. Some ideas include just restricting drivers that have won championships to one particular series. And also win counts potentially coming in for Cup drivers that might allow some Cup drivers to run trucks again full-time. If they so choose, of course.
At the end of the day, it's all in a sense of just trying to make the series a little bit more valuable. You know, not have one series be over dominant to the other. Opening it up. It's the last time we'll see this ever. So you might as well have a little bit of the playbook and throw it out the window and let these guys have fun. Obviously, someone like Jonathan Zorlin would never do that, but let's say somebody like Peter Onjack, for example. Maybe you'll see him running both.
That's indeed. Well, that's why, you saw like James Ellison, Adam Flickinger, Peter Onjack, they dropped the trucks because they felt like they'd have a more competitive shot down here in 2023, and we kind of saw that. Ellison did get plagued with a lot of bad luck. He came into this thing 10th in the points, though. We've seen Adam Flickinger 7th in the points. Hasn't gotten that win that he's been looking for, but Adam has had a great season nonetheless. And of course, Peter has had the most success out of them all with the 2 wins. And in that championship winning position, currently would be out though with Winnie in the 23 running 14th. I feel like you've got to win if you have a name like that, Vince. Winnie Calhoun. She be winning a lot.
We'll save the puns. We'll see if the puns will actually come into fruition in about 38 laps here. But there he is, buddy. I just mentioned for the past winners, looking to go back-to-back. Obviously, did not get the season for a championship. Want to win a cap it off if he can get win in Atlanta. He won a fantastic finish last year, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed. And, I mean, I feel like it was just another atypical Donovan Cage season where we see Cage win multiple races, but then he's just plagued by inconsistencies. He comes into this race 14th in points, and he's got just as many top 5s as Calhoun and Strauss do with 4, but he's just been plagued by the inconsistencies, and that's why he sits 14th in the points and was out of range, I believe, before we even got to Pensacola.
And that's the problem, too, with the schedule. You're allowed 1 or 2 gimmicks in the past. Here, you might only be allowed 1 gimmick. Consistency matters so much, and I think we're getting close to pit stops, buddy. There it is.
There we go. Catano's going to pit. Catano, the first one to pit road, will bring in Corey Riggs. Lap 53 here, so a few laps early potentially, but a good undercut strategy. That really checked up the back of the pack. You see Jeanne Sandfer got away, but Calhoun got checked up in the midst of it. See if anyone pits this time by. Nope. No one from this lead group. No one from the second group either. Is Catano now done with his service? He's on his way back out.
Well, I did say, but we would see what Catano could do an undercut clean air strat.
Oh, the caution's out.
Caution, that's huge.
Oh, Usman Hamid has a problem. He's on the apron, but they're throwing the yellow for this.
They're still racing back?
Yeah, they are racing back currently. Looks like Waters should have the lead clear, and this will still put drivers about a couple laps short here, Vince. It'll be 35 to go here, and they'll be coming to pit around 34 to go. I think they're still going to be about a lap or 2 short on fuel. It's going to be really close to make it from here. Especially if you're leading in clean air, that makes it even harder. But Stephen Waters, the leader, with Jeanne Sandfer in second. Calhoun will be pitting from 14th, but I'm hearing Usman Hamid had a mechanical failure and had to come to a stop down there on the apron into turn 3, and I guess officials deemed it hazardous enough to cause for a yellow.
Gotta wonder if that new pit lane entry, just in case when they scrub off speed, that could have been in the zone. But regardless, here we go. This isn't the money stop, but for all intent and purposes, that's going to I don't know, is he going to throw Catano out of the race, or is he going to get that raise up award?
Let's see, actually. Chris Harvey's staying out, Nereza's staying out. No, the lucky dog will go to Downey here.
Okay.
So Catano and Riggs. Catano, Riggs, and Saden Davidson had all pit before that yellow came out, so they are now a lap down. But I saw a couple trucks stay out. Yes, indeed. Look at this. So Downey's going to get his lap back here. We'll see. He will probably want to pit next time by after he completes his wave. But Harvey, Nereza, and Dale Johnson have all stayed out here. Now, I'm curious. This could be a good strategy call if they're going to come in here. They will make it, instead of having to go 34 laps, they would go 33 laps. Which, if they stay in draft the whole time, they might have a pretty good chance of making it, but I feel like we're going to see a lot of drivers short by a couple of laps here. I don't foresee anyone really making it 34 laps, Because even though they're getting these caution laps, Vince, you know, it's going to be tight. Yep, here we go. 1966 and 20 are pitting here. So potentially a great strategy call to maybe try to win this thing if it goes green to the end.
I'll have 31 to go most likely when we get back to the restart zone.
And you're going to see Catano and Riggs are going to pit here, Vince. Because even though they would like to probably get their lap back, if they can make it to the finish, it would be a lot better for them. And they will still have to go that extra lap, being a lap down, if they were to stay out under a green flag condition. So, a bit of a tough break for Catano. You see they only took right side steer to fill it up. I believe Riggs will likely do the same. But, I mean, Corey Riggs has a great race, pretty much thrown down the drain, and we saw Catano was at the back early, then came to the front, and that has been thrown down the drain. Winnie Calhoun, though, bad pit stop. Let's take a replay and see what happened to her on pit road. Taking a look at Winnie Calhoun's pit stop replay here. Watch the speed at the top, see if she got checked up at all by anyone. She came in 16th. Oh, had to slow up for Braxton a little bit as his stall was right before hers. Nothing really crazy there, though. See, the time loss was likely on exit here. You see Waters and Hamid were side by side. There goes Jeanne Sandfer. And yeah, left sides were down for a bit here, Vince, and she was just stuck waiting for an opportunity to leave. You know, I'm hearing maybe they jammed something because she stayed in there for a long time until finally getting it going. And she lost, I think, about 10 positions or so because of that. But we know this truck is fast. We'll see if she can get it back through the running order, and this actually might not be a bad play to try and save some gas. Getting ready to go back racing. We will have 31 laps to go. It's going to be tight on fuel, Vince, for all of these drivers. They had a couple laps of caution to maybe try and save some gas, but you're still talking 31 laps of green flag action. I think it's going to be really tight for some of these guys. Being at the front of the field and being the leader of a draft train is not going to win you this race, I think, unless you get a caution here at some point. So the 47 of Hamid will continue. Their issue has been resolved. They will be 2 laps down. Downey got the lucky dog. Also, we missed it, but Sam Young had a flat tire right after pitting, so he restarts 31st. They got that issue resolved. He maintains lead lap status. Stephen Waters leads him to the green flag with Jeanne Sandfer running in 2nd place. Winnie Calhoun restarts in 24th.
Pivotal restarts that. We got some people who are a little slower on the inside lane. Some lappers like a Tano who are really quick. And then for Calhoun and Sandfer, right now Sandfer's in a great spot. The question is, where can Calhoun go with the runs early on this first run here, the first lap?
And fuel, Vince. Fuel likely on every crew chief's mind here as they hit 30 to go. Can they make it? Who won't make it could be another question. Remember, we saw the 19, the 66, and the 20. They pit that lap later. I think they have much better odds. But it's going to be tight, I think, for everybody.
Well, that's where you don't want to be leading. And in a way, you don't want to be leading this race. You want to be somewhere around ice. I think could control a little bit the throttle. You can play around with the throttle a little bit. But if you're somebody like the Sandfer or Waters up top, you almost want to back off and let someone else in. You can see, we could see a race of either attrition or someone was just going to play a little cat and mouse at the front because no one wants to be leading right now. You just burn more fuel. Sure.
So you've got Waters on the top, Jeanne in the middle, and then the lap down truck of Hamid is on the bottom. So they are all stacked up 3 wide here at the front, and Calhoun might be saving some gas because she is currently not trying to move forward. She's kind of just taking it easy. You see she's not really close to anyone's bumper. And that's also the case for the 66 and the 19. You see they pit that lap later. Nareza sitting back here with Calhoun. Harvey also not pushing the issue. Dale Johnson, however, he's trying to go forward. He thinks he might have enough, so he's going now. But this is another thing to talk about, Vince, right now, with where Calhoun is running. Peter Onjack is your points leader once again. She is currently 28th, and that puts her 2 points short of Peter Onjack. And remember, she cannot win the title on a tiebreaker.
Yeah, Peter would hold, but she's losing pace. It's got to be a fuel save, boy. I see the leaders are starting to punch up. Is that Brahmer on the inside?
That would be Monaco on the inside in the 14.
Like I said, yeah.
Brahmer's in the 24 here in the Truck Series.
Yeah, so many times where I'm just so used to it back to the old days of Brahmer in that 14. So apologies there.
Brahmer, I don't know who you're thinking of because Brahmer wasn't in the 14 ever.
I think it's somebody else, man. I don't know.
It's all good, man. Let's just focus on the action. They are 3 wide for the lead here, but only the 93 and the 14 are the ones battling for it. Hamid trying to get to 1 lap down after going 2 laps down. Jeanne Sandfer now, Vince, in the middle behind the 93, might be able to start saving a little fuel here.
4 wide though? With Buttersworth on the inside? Getting close, man. I wouldn't want to be in that spot either. You got to get out of the 4 wide. You're in 4 wide, you're pushing a little bit more on entry, which burns up your fuel. That's a good spot to be in. Our top lane, just riding right behind Hamid.
One thing you got to remember, though, Vince, is it might not seem like much, but after 30 laps, running the top line the whole time here could hurt you a lap as they're 4 wide at the back of this pack. That's Commons, Cropley, Bishop, and Riggs that were in a 4 wide situation for a very brief moment. They might be going 4 wide again at the front.
Nice, held it out.
Nope, back to 3 wide. So Hamid currently leads this pack, but he is a lap down. Ice, the current leader. How about Reggie Fogelman? He's joined the party up here at the front, looking to maybe end his season with another win. We saw Fogelman get his first career win at Pukekohe and was in title contention until Pensacola last week. So pretty good season for Fogelman, all things considered.
Yeah, just right now I'm looking at Calhoun way at the back of the... I don't know, man. It has to be a fuel save, boy. There's no way you would drop off that much in pace if it wasn't a fuel save, boy.
He currently runs 29th.
For me, leading here doesn't matter, really. It's helping the entire pack save fuel if they can just lift a little bit in the corner.
As a Chevy leads the pack a lap down, you've got Ford, Chevy, Ram, bottom to top. And our highest Toyota is currently the 16. Gonna have a lot more Toyotas on the grid next year, Vince. Haven't really talked about silly season news much, but new team going to be coming in, Tricon Garage, going to be a big Toyota team. Going to have a couple of other Toyota teams joining the grid as well, so going to be a lot more Toyotas down here in trucks next year.
Well, it's good to see the diversity of manufacturers, especially since a lot of these manufacturers are outnumbered. You look at Toyota in the Cup Series, they haven't won in a minute. And the Tundras now will be in full force. We'll see how that goes. But back to the front now, buddy. Hamid's going to get shuffled a little bit. That's not what the pack wanted. Now one of these guys, there's a lead lap car, will have to take the reins of burning the most fuel.
It's Buttersworth and Fogelman here, bottom and middle, with Hamid still leading the top. Jeanne Sandfer still running that top line. Benjamin Ice now starting to move around. You've also got Davidson up here, who's a lap down. But looking at top 10 drivers, Roberto Crown Jr. has joined the top 10. How about Sky Commons in the 17? Dennis Moore in the 37. they have joined the top 10 running position. It's now Fogelman clear of Hamid. He's going to lead the top line with Buttersworth to his inside still. You see Kyler Anderson way off the pace. Chris Harvey, he pit that lap later, but he is still in fuel-saving mode from the looks of it, but he's in danger of losing draft, which would start to make him burn more fuel. Meanwhile, Calhoun is in 30th, and she is starting to trail the draft here. Josh King.
Wonder. I bet.
Go ahead, Vince.
Just gotta wonder what that pit stop really meant when it was slow. Did they do some damage to the suspension? Is there a technical issue going on? You don't know, because that could be a money stop for the wrong reason. That might be a bankrupt stop right there. But we'll find out. You can keep going through the field. We'll find out in about 15 laps.
Let's see. We got Brad Lewis, who I believe was in that accident with damage. Daniel Brown's back here. Adam Flickinger, Skylar Taylor. Brittany Turner, our pole sitter, currently sits 24th. And then out of those other drivers we saw pit that lap later, that are lead lap, you've got Nereza 23rd. And then Dale Johnson has continued to move forward. He is up to 15th. As now Buttersworth has cleared Fogelman. Hamid has moved to the bottom. 14 laps to go, Vince. Now, if these drivers are in fact short on fuel, they could start pitting here at any moment, because you're probably going to want to take right sides only to make it somewhat of an undercut effort. That might get you a 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds on tire advantage on the undercut. And you're not really going to have time to make use of an overcut because of the amount of laps left.
Just looking right now, it's still momentum based, even though we're about 20 laps into this run. You know what? If I'm somebody like Calhoun, you're going to have to gamble and stay out. You might as well just back off your pace and hope to make everyone else. Sandfer, I come in now. What's there to lose? There's nothing to lose to come in now. Take some right side tires and maybe just have enough of a gap even with no draft.
Problem for Jeanne Sandfer is she's stuck on the top.
And that's the thing. Can you cross it over in time? Might have a chance here, believe it or not. She can get the run off of 2. Get to the middle.
Back to Buttersworth and Fogelman battling for the race lead. Hamid still running the bottom. Commons into the top 5. Commons had a very good race at Memphis, but his truck went away from him at the end. That allowed Ryan Brommer to win. Commons came home still with a top 5 finish, but Commons could be looking to end the year with a win. Rookie of the Year is still on the line, I believe, between Brommer and Commons. Brommer came into this thing with a, let's see if I can get the info to pop up here, a 28-point lead over Commons for Rookie of the Year honors. And Brommer is just outside the top 10 now, so he's trying to get forward to protect that Rookie of the Year honor. So we know Brommer does have Cup experience, but he had never driven a truck before this year. So he was able to do it. As Katana was the first to pit, remember, he was a lap down, and he pit that second time by to top off, and even he is pitting early here. Yep, here we got some more. Riggs has been down. Jack James down now. Brad Lewis down now. So here we go, Vince. It looks like it's going to be too many laps for a lot of these guys. Who's going to pit next here? We're at 10 to go, coming to 9 to go.
Who's going to blink first? Nobody right now. The top 5. Anybody? Yep, there's one.
Stephen Waters is pitting. So now Winnie Calhoun, as she sees people pitting, this is getting better for her. If she can indeed make it, she's up to 26. She needs one more position to get Peter Onjack. Her speed completely went away from her after that caution flag pit stop. I thought some people might be pitting there, but they did not pit.
Nope.
No one pits this time by. 8 to
to go.
Buttersworth in the lead with Hamid to his inside. They're still pretty packed up at the front here. Jeanne Sandfer on that outside line of Reggie Fogelman and Benjamin Ice. Still no one pitting. Waters comes out behind Jack James, so you can see the power of that two-tire undercut. James is actually almost all the way back up to speed. But you're definitely in the range of just taking 2 here, or maybe taking none at all. Oh, they're 4 wide. Someone might be pitting here. Someone pit. That's Roberto Crown Jr. Kate Anderson, Ron Bishop, David Dixon in. Brittany Turner, Max Anderson, who's a lap down. There's Winnie Calhoun. She's pitting. Pitting from 26th. So this is the first big group of undercutters we've seen. Who's pitting
Someone's
next?
going to try to stretch it, buddy. Someone might try.
If it's anyone, it could come down to the 20, the 66, and the 19. Big group right here. 41, 8, 17 in. So Jeanne Sandfer answers the 23. Oh, she got checked up heavily, though, by Buttersworth, where Buttersworth's stall was placed. That might do it for the 8. That cost her a ton of time. Fogelman now inherited the race lead, coming to 4 to go. And he is going to pit. Hamid's a lap down, stays out. DeLello comes in. Dale Johnson can't make it. He's going to pit. We've had an incident. Sam Young's been destroyed. We're staying green right now. It looks like he got turned into the outside wall, but we're staying green.
Looks like he's just going to get down. I think he's got a chance to get down right now, but he's got to be careful. He's keeping up there.
Still trucks coming. Ryan Brommer took the lead there after staying out that time by. Sam Young's going to run the bottom, but he's trying not to hurt people that are coming out. This is going to get dicey. Oh, look at Ron Bishop. Look at David Dixon. We're still green. We're still green.
Got to be very careful right here.
Ooh, Adam Flickinger. That was dicey.
2 to go, coming to the line, I think. Who leads? Is it Downey?
Downey has stayed out. Downey has yet to pit. Will be coming the 2 to go this time by. And I believe we're going to stay green. Nereza has also yet to pit. Downey's coming in.
Where's Nereza? 2 to go. He's pitting.
Nope, he's not. He's staying out. He was just staying low for the 44. So Nereza will take the lead here with 2 to go. And remember, he pit that lap later. So I think he's going to make it. But forget about the 66. This is what we want to look at. Winnie Calhoun.
30th place.
Let's see. It's got to update. 27th.
Oh, boy.
And Daniel Brown's right here. This is for position. Winnie Calhoun's got to pass the 18. This is for the championship right here.
Only thing is, where's Downey come out in this?
Now, the 48 was all that mattered. She's just got to get by the 18. This is going to be for 25th place here. They're taking the white because they're a lap down. Nereza stayed out again. Nereza's going to make it on fuel here and win the race, but can Calhoun pass Josh King to win the championship? She's clear.
King's got to do a crossover. Here comes Enzo out of turn 4. He's going to get the win, but who's going to get the championship? Here comes the crossover.
Can King help Onjack win? That's a Toyota manufacturer teammate. Or does Winnie Calhoun have enough? Winnie Calhoun has enough. She's going to do it by a point. Winnie Calhoun. 25th. She's your 2023 Jerky Pro Truck Series champion by a single point. And it came down to the end, passing the 18. As Nereza made it on fuel. Oh my goodness gracious.
They all bunch up.
That was epic. How about that, Vince? How about that?
I've seen a lot of things, man, but last lap, 3 turns to go, season on the line, championship on the line, to get it done by a measly point. What a win for Winnie Calhoun to get a championship, and for Peter Onjack, you can't help but feel for the guy. I mean, he came down here to get the job done and get the mission to win a chip, and to fall one measly point short, he's going to look back into that James Ellison wreck, and somewhere across the season, where did I miss out on 1 point? It's pretty much where it comes down to. And what a call by Enzo Nerezzo. Can't oversight that, too. Sure.
Yeah, staying out that extra lap. I mean, look at Chris Harvey. I think lost too much time trying to save extra. I think that cost him fuel because he was practically out of the draft. And then I think Dale Johnson went hard too early and he burned up fuel. So then he pit. And I think Nerezza played it perfectly. And pitting that extra lap later on that the second yellow there on lap 56, Nerezza ended up pitting coming to 57. And or actually pitting the 58. He came pitting 57 to 58. And that is what allowed Nerezza to make it on fuel. So Nerezza gets the win in fuel strategy. Steven Waters comes home second. Jack James third. Those were the two guys that undercut very early, Vince. If you recall, around like lap 80, they both came in. They put tires on it, and that let them get a podium finish. So good way to end their season. Buttersworth comes home fourth. Kate Anderson fifth. Fogelman, Brad Lewis, Downey, Sky Commons, and Ibrahimium round out the top 10. Jeanne Sandfer ends it in 11th. She will, I believe, get third in the points over Jessica Strauss. Zachary DeLello 13th, Ice 14th, Cage 16th, Dale Johnson 20th. Ryan Brommer, 22nd, I believe, will lock up Rookie of the Year honors over Sky Commons. Winnie Calhoun, as we mentioned, 25th, was where she needed to finish with Peter Onjack being a DNF in 40th. She got it done. Adam Flickinger, 27th. Chris Harvey, 29th. Catano, 30th. Riggs, 31st. They got screwed by that second caution. Then you see Monaco 2 laps down, 32nd. Looks like he might have had an issue at the end of this thing. And same with Sam Young. We saw that actually. We've got to take a look at that as he got crashed into the wall, I believe, during the pit stop cycle. So let's go back and let's take a look at that. Here's what happened to Sam Young. You see side by side with Davidson, and then they're looking to the inside of Eric Monaco. Then Davidson decides not to go to the inside of the 14. And I think Monaco is trying to pit, so we thought it'd be a lot safer. But he still turned down to Sam Young coming to his inside, and that turned Sam Young hard into the outside wall. But look at this the wall. He's running the rear of the car along the wall, and that saved Sam Young from going around. And then it was chaotic for that whole lap. Sam Young was trying to get back to pit road. But we ended up staying green. And, I mean, Vince, if the caution had come out, it would have been over for Winnie. It would have been over.
Yeah, the officials, they're going to say the oil was way up there, and you got to look. It's a borderline call. You see the grip strip in Atlanta. You can see where the darker surface is, and he's just outside the grip. And obviously in the front stretch, it's borderline, but the officials deemed he was going quick enough, and the oil is just way up there at the top of the quad.
Yeah, I mean, he was cruising around here at about 90 mile an hour just trying to find a way to get down, and he also didn't want to impact the people coming out of pit road, so he stayed on the very bottom in 1 and 2, and because typically you see drivers run the middle here through the corner, but it was definitely sketchy. But because of that, Winnie Calhoun had the laps she needed to pass Josh King to ultimately take what would become 25th. As meanwhile, the 66 of Enzo Nerezza was able to make it without pitting at the end. And Nerezza earned his second career win here today, Vince. And for Nerezza, That was his first win.
Since Daytona, right?
Daytona of a year ago. He won Daytona back in 2022. So he won the season opener in 2022. He wins the season finale here in 2023. And Nereza is officially a multi-time winner here in the Jerky Pro Truck Series. And Vince, he also just got his first Cup Series win a couple of weeks ago at Papyrus. So Nereza with a win in each series here at the very end of the year. So ending 2023 on a strong note. We'll have to see how he does in 2024. But for one driver, their heart was beating really fast here at the end of this thing. Got it done, though, by that 1 point. And for Peter Onjack, I'd say all the nails are gone down there in the garage, as I'm sure he was watching this closely after they were done for the day on that lap 21 accident. Right here was the scary moment with Adam Flickinger to the left of your screen. Flickinger coming back on track with Sam Young jumping down. That was sketchy. But after that, it was clear for Sam Young to get to pit road. But, I mean, Vince, what a way to end the championship this year here in the Jerky Pro Truck Series. I think this will probably go down as the best full season points battle in Truck Series history. I mean, it's going to be hard to top this. I mean, this came down to the final lap. Like, it's going to be hard for them to top this next year. But, you know,
No, it is. Oh, man.
We got the Cup race tomorrow, too, so, you know, maybe they'll top it. I don't know.
It is, but you got to think, too, in a shorter season, you just wonder if the amount of races being lessened, it created a sense of urgency that every race was a championship race. But I'll let you finish it up.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much all I got, Vince. So, you got anything left here for us as we're watching the 23 in slow-mo here?
No, congratulations to Winnie Calhoun on winning the championship and Enzo Nereza winning his race. It's a great race. A lot of draft early, and it was all about just timing it, right? It was all about timing the fuel, timing the runs, and in the end, a little bit of lady luck to it. Sam Young not blowing up in Winnie's face, and what can you say? Last lap, you can't ask for anything. Last lap, 3 turns to go. King almost does a crossover to help Peter win, but great job to him. And yeah, man, so I don't know what the future holds for me in this channel, so I'm not sure. I know next year you're gonna do some, but this is the last time I'm on this channel. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure the last 3.5 years, and wherever the roads go, I know it won't be boring for sure.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to see what we can do to get you on here potentially next year. Vince will not be joining me for the Cup race, though. It'll be a solo show for me on that effort to end the 2023 year. But, you know, Jerky Pro is where you made... we grew this bed here of you co-commentating was in Jerky Pro, so we'll have to at least get you for maybe a couple truck races, but we'll see what the future holds when we get to it. And just thank you again for coming out for the 2023 finale. That'll do it for us here from Atlanta Motor Speedway today. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the Cup Series finale. It's going to be between Jonathan Sorlin, Samantha Oskin, and Nate Rogers going for the 2023 Digital Storm Cup Series Championship. Can Sorlin go 3 in a row and become the first 3-time Cup Series champion? Can Oskin get his first championship since 2020 and become the third 2-time champion in history? Or will Nate Rogers add his name to the record books as a Cup Series champion, joining the likes of Sorlin, Oskin, and others? We'll find out tomorrow. That's all here from Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Sign off.